Hello and welcome back, CC families, to week 6 of Essentials of the English Language. I don't know about your home campus, but this is the week before we get our break week. So this week we are going to be focusing on compound structure and the SVT-DO pattern. Okay, so we've been focusing on which of the sentence structures so far. That's right, the simple. So what is a simple sentence? It consists of one independent clause and it expresses a complete thought. It has one subject or subject group and one verb or verb group. I like to say that the complete subject is doing the complete verb. So if we say Jack and Jill ran and skipped, both Jack and Jill are doing both of the actions of running and skipping. So this sentence is still simple even though the subjects and the verbs are compound. So what is a clause? It's a group of words that include both a subject and a verb. So what do we mean when we say we have an independent clause? It's a group of words that include both a subject and a verb and can stand on its own and it makes sense. So it's a complete sentence. So this week we are going to talk about compound structure. So a compound sentence, as you can see, it looks similar to a simple, but it's almost doubled. So we will have two independent clauses, and they're going to be connected by a coordinating conjunction. So can anyone tell me what a coordinating conjunction is? All right, let's go to chart H, and we can see right there at the top that we have the definition. And the definition of a conjunction is a word used to connect words, phrases, or clauses together. All right, and when we were talking about the compound sentence, we said that it had a coordinating conjunction. So can you find the definition of a coordinating conjunction? That's right, it's right underneath coordinating. So coordinating conjunctions connect grammatically equal words or groups of words, such as compound subjects, compound verbs, or compound sentences. Okay, so grammatically equal is kind of an interesting term, but it means that it can connect any group of words that are the same part of speech, like groups of adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, things like that. So let's look at the list of coordinating conjunctions. Okay. So for our community, the way we remember fanboys is fan boys. It's all you need to know. For and nor, but, or yet so. So you'll see on the chart for chart H that fanboys is what makes up the first letter of all of the coordinating conjunctions. All right. So now that we know what coordinating conjunctions are, let's look back at what a compound sentence is. So this is our structure sheet, and a simple sentence is like a basic house. This simple house does its job of providing shelter and protection for those who live inside, and it doesn't need anything else to do that job. A simple sentence does its job or expresses a complete thought without the help of any other clauses. A compound sentence is like these two houses. Each house does its job of providing shelter and protection for those who live inside, just like our simple house. They don't need each other, but they are right next door to each other and are joined together by a fanboy's fence. In a compound sentence, we have two simple sentences, or two independent clauses, that are joined together with a comma and a fanboy. They don't have to be connected, but they are. That's what makes them compound. So we will move on to complex sentences in week 13 and compound complex sentences in week 21. So now that we have our coordinating conjunctions, let's practice making some compound sentences with these fanboys. So here are some independent clauses for you to choose from, and you can choose two and then put them together using one of the fanboys. So for example, you could say, Elizabeth drew a picture and Landon played soccer. Or Asher ate pizza, so Andrew built a Lego creation. Salo read a book, yet Estelle made macaroni and cheese. So it's just using those coordinating conjunctions to take two complete sentences and connect them, just to be that fence between the two houses. All right, so we're going to look at a couple of sentences and see if they are compound sentences or if they are simple. So Cadence runs and kicks the ball. We have a coordinating conjunction. Amelia and Candace play soccer. Again, we have a coordinating conjunction of and. Amelia and Candace run and kick the ball. So we have two coordinating conjunctions there. So let's look a little bit closer. So Candace runs. So we have our coordinating conjunction. That's a check. We have that with and. One independent clause on the left of the conjunction. So Candace runs. That's, yep, check. Do we have an independent clause on the right side of the conjunction? We don't. Kicks the ball is not an independent clause. So this is a compound verb. This one subject is doing two verbs. She's running and kicking the ball. Okay, now let's look at Amelia ran and Candace kicked the ball. Do we have a coordinating conjunction? We sure do. It's and. One independent clause on the left of the conjunction. Amelia ran. So yes, that's an independent clause. It makes sense. It has a subject and a verb, and it's complete on its own. Now, do we have an independent clause on the right, to the right of the conjunction? Candace kicked the ball. We do. We have one subject, a verb, and it makes complete sense on its own. Is there a comma before the conjunction? Yes. So this is a compound sentence. So when we're doing compound sentences, you can use a semicolon to replace a coordinating conjunction to create a compound sentence. So you could say Amelia ran and Candace kicked the ball, or you could say Amelia ran, semicolon, Candace kicked the ball. All right, so back to our chart H. So we remember what conjunctions do. That's right, they're a word used to connect words, phrases, or clauses together. So we already talked about coordinating conjunctions, and how do we remember the list? That's right, fanboys, for and, nor, but, or, yet, so. And they connect grammatically equal words, such as compound subjects, compound verbs, or compound sentences. So let's take a quick look at the other conjunctions on chart H. So the next one over from coordinating conjunction is a correlative conjunctions. And these always come in pairs. Some examples are neither nor, both and, either or, whether or. So these also connect groups of words of equal importance. So some examples would be, neither my daughter nor I like bananas. Both you and your sister will gather the garbage. Either I will play the flute or Aubrey will play the violin. I will play the flute either before the song or after the reading. So what do you notice about correlative conjunctions if you compare them to coordinating conjunctions? Coordinating conjunctions are our fanboys. That's right. In the list that we have, all of our correlative conjunctions also include a coordinating conjunction, nor, and, or. Next, we have subordinating conjunctions, and I don't want you to get too overwhelmed by all of the things that we're going through today. We are going to dive real deep into this in week 13. But so just to give you an overview, subordinating conjunctions introduce an adverbial subordinate clause and relates it to the word it modifies in the independent clause. So that's a little word jumble, but it basically means it's going to start a clause that is going to act as an adverb, okay? And we will go back and we're going to learn these in depth. But for now, the abbreviation used to memorize them is www.asia.wub. When, while, where, as, since, if, although, whereas, unless, because. And these conjunctions are used in complex sentences, which we have not gotten to yet. So it's a lot of big words. It's a lot of things to remember, but just for now, you don't need to even concentrate on this one. But if you want to learn it, or you want to, if you're a third year and you want to review the subordinating conjunctions, introduce an adverbial subordinate clause, and they're remembered by using the abbreviation www.asia.wub. And that's when, while, where, as, since, if, although, whereas, unless, because. Okay, we also have conjunctive adverbs. So just to be clear, these are actually adverbs and they're not conjunctions, but they do have the ability to relate to independent clauses and loosely connect them. Since they're adverbs, they will be diagrammed like adverbs, but we're going to go deep into adverbs next week. So because they aren't actual conjunctions, you need a semicolon or a period. So I forgot my coat, therefore I felt quite cold. Or she studied diligently for the exam. Consequently, she aced it. All right, so what sentence pattern have we done so far? That's right, the SVI. And what does the VI stand for? An intransitive verb. And what is an intransitive verb? A verb that does not transfer action. So what's the next pattern on our list of patterns? That's right, SVTDO. Just to review, what does the S stand for? That's right, subject. What does VT stand for? Verb transitive. What is a transitive verb? It's a verb that does transfer action. What does DO stand for in the SVT-DO sentence pattern? The direct object. And the direct object is what receives the action from the subject. It will always be a noun or a pronoun. Okay, so it is always something that is receiving the action, and it is a noun or a pronoun. And it's one of the jobs. It's the D in Spido for Spidopona. Okay, so let's look back at some sentences that we did earlier, and we will find the action and then decide what is receiving the action. So Selah drew a picture. She drew. What's receiving the action of drew? That's right, a picture. Andrew ate pizza. What is receiving the action of ate? Pizza. Elizabeth baked cookies. What is receiving the action of baked? The cookies. Estelle read a book. What is receiving the action of read? A book. Asher watched Star Wars. What is receiving the action of watched? Star Wars. Landon played soccer. What is receiving the action of played? That's right, soccer. Michael built a Lego creation. What is receiving the action of built? Technically, it's creation. What kind of creation? Lego. So the Lego would be an adjective, but Lego creation. And Valerie made macaroni and cheese. That's right. What did she make? She made macaroni and cheese. Good. All right. So we can ask some questions to make sure we're getting to the direct object and to the subject. So this is going to help when we're diagramming, and it's just the way that we go through the same questions every single time we're analyzing a sentence, and that way we don't miss anything, and that way we are always in a systematic way keeping track and going through the process. So whom or what is a sentence or clause about? So we can say who blank verb or what blank verb. And that's always going to give us the subject. So either question is going to direct us to the subject. So what is being said about the subject? This helps us find the verb. Who or what receives the action of the verb? So blank did blank, whom or what? Like what received the action of the verb? To whom or to what? And that's the direct object. So not all verbs can be transitive. So the tree fell would be an example of a verb that cannot be transitive because there's no answer to the tree fell whom what. The tree cannot transfer the action to a direct object. All right, so as we start analyzing sentences with more than one clause, we will only look at one clause at a time. So it makes sense to ask whom or what is this clause about when looking at a specific clause within the sentence. All right, guys, that is all for now. If you want, you can hop over to the next video, and that's going to be week 6 analytical tasks, where we will go through a compound sentence and label it and diagram it. All right, bye for now.